Okay, so tell me, what's your name and what do you do?
Yeah, my name is Kristen Seidman, and I am a copy editor. I have worked most recently, I do freelance work in copy editing, but my most recent corporate job was as a managing editor. So I have those skills also that I could offer on the open market.
Okay, cool. So, and right now, when somebody asks you, what do you do? Like, do you have a go-to answer or do you feel like flustered and trying to figure out
I
how to say
feel
it?
flustered. I always say copy editing because to me there are four different types of editing and I do a specific one, but other people don't know what copy editing is necessarily. And so then I start rambling that I'm a grammar nerd and I spot mistakes and I just like to read things closely, but it never flies very well.
And what happens like when you say this? Like, what are other people's responses to that? Do you feel like they get
uh,
it or they kind of glaze over or are they like,
I
oh,
was just glaze over or exactly the words that came to mind, or they say, "Oh, grammar, eek, that's boring," or it doesn't sound exciting or sexy at all. And I would love to have a little elevator pitch for it so that, well, to sell myself and also just to sound better at cocktail parties.
oh, look, your kitty just joined the chat. Okay, so we talked a while back about kind of honing in on one area of copywriting with the presentations. I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, does that still feel right? Or are you kind of wanting to go back to more of like a general copy editing direction?
I w I love having a specific direction and a niche, and I would like to get there, but for the moment, I would love to just address what I do and the skills that I have, and then branch from there once things are rolling along a little bit
Got
better.
it.
For the moment, I've been taking work that comes,
Mhm.
and it would be nice to just be out there and look more professional.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So you bring up a good point in that for many companies, they have one overarching one-liner or elevator pitch about the whole company, and then they might have a particular service that they do underneath that umbrella that requires also a one-liner.
Sure, that
So
makes sense.
you don't only have to have one, right? You might, depending on, you need a one-liner for every problem that you solve.
Ah, interesting,
Right.
okay.
So
Yes.
if you eventually lean into the pitch decks or the PowerPoint presentations, you're solving a different problem than you are for the more general copy editing type of work.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Which leads us into the problem that you solve. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let's make sure this is the right one. Okay. All right. So what you've done is watch my 5-minute video. You've gone through
Yes.
here and brain dumped, which is perfect, all the problems that your clients struggle with. You've brain dumped some solutions that you offer, and then you have brain dumped the benefits. So we're not starting from scratch here today. We're really like, you've done the heavy lifting of brain dumping, which is often the hardest part. So great job.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
So let's hone in on the problem because really the problem is the most important part of a story. Every story begins with a hero who has a problem they don't know how to solve. And what we want to
Mhm.
do with your elevator pitch one-liner is really articulate that problem so people know who we work with. And then we want to position our service as the solution to that problem. And then as the guide, when we position our service as the solution, we become the guide in the problem. We become Mr. Miyagi or Yoda or the strongest character in the story, not the hero of the story. Ironically, that's the weakest character in the story because we don't know if they're going to
Sure.
succeed or failure. So our job as the guide is to tell them, I've got you, I've got a solution to this problem. And let me paint a picture of success. They are so
Okay.
stuck, the hero is so stuck in their problem that they can't even envision what success really looks like. So it's our
Okay.
job to really think big and not hold back in the brighter future that they have ahead of them once we've solved this problem. Does that make
All
sense?
right.
Are you,
Yes,
are you,
totally.
are you following? Okay.
It's sort of a flip of how you normally think about marketing yourself, because normally you're like, I'm amazing and I'm gonna make everything happen for you.
It's a complete 180 from the way most people market. And that's why it's so effective, because it's really centered on making your clients the hero of the story and not yourself. And
Yeah,
it allows you to have such clarity and distill down the essence of what you do. But ultimately, your elevator pitch, I mean, I think people feel cringy when they hear the word elevator pitch because they think that it's like salesy,
sure.
or they think that it's like pushy or salesy. But when you do it in this way, it's about connection and clarity. It's a completely different thing. This approach to an elevator pitch one-liner is really an invitation. It's an invitation to engage in a more meaningful conversation about the work you do. It's an invitation for connection, and it's also an invitation for them to really remember who you are, what you're about. So if they have this problem down the road, you're going to be top of mind as the person to go to. Not only that, when they're at a cocktail party or they're talking to their friends who have that problem, who are they going to think about when they want to help their
Yes.
friends solve that problem too? So you
Yeah,
you create this like kind of army of people that are spreading the word about you
perfect.
when you do the work that we're doing today. Okay. So first, what we want to do is identify who we work with. And it looks like you've got writers, businesses, and okay. So, but do you mostly work with writers?
I prefer to work with businesses. I think they have bigger budgets, and I don't enjoy working on fiction as much as
Okay.
nonfiction. So that puts
Okay.
me in the bucket of working for businesses directly.
I think that's a really good direction, because you bring up another good point. Who has the budget to pay you what you deserve?
Mhm.
Businesses do. Writers, maybe not. Like
Right.
if someone's a solopreneur, their budget's going to be more limited. Also, writers often think that because they can write one thing, that they can write everything. And so you might get stuck in
Right.
like too many cooks in the kitchen kind of a thing.
Yeah,
So I think, and then businesses, like in a perfect world of all sizes, small business, or does it matter? We do not have to identify that.
it's a good question. I mostly work with small businesses, but I I would be open to larger businesses for sure. I think that would actually be easier because they have set style and voice and
Mhm.
other things that make my job as the copy editor easier to, or just cleaner to go
Right.
through
Right.
written.
Okay. I would encourage us today to lean into the small business. I think those are the people that are going to be hearing your message directly. And I think the larger companies like the Nikes of the world are also going to hear about you through individuals that are talking. So I think you could certainly like lead with small business, but on your website, you can have two different types of services for small
Sure,
business and also for larger companies.
sure. I like
So,
that approach. That makes
okay.
sense.
Okay. So the first thing we want to do then is start here. Many small businesses. That
Yeah.
is the hero. And tell me, are they, when you think of like a situation of this, are they like this? Are they, um, what do you mean by expert on their subject matter?
So I've worked for a consultant who studied educational models, and she is an expert on educational models, but not grammar and syntax and punctuation. The
Got
things that
it.
her report that I edited was perfect from a content standpoint, but not necessarily from a written word standpoint. And that's where I was able to come in and be helpful.
Okay. Okay. So that that's kind of another area of like consultants.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like, because I kind of like the idea of working with consultants. They're more elevated than like
Sure.
a solopreneur. They're making more money.
Yes. Yeah.
They really value looking like a total expert,
Yes. And
right?
they're able to include the cost of copy editing in their fee when they land the job. So then they have a
Ah,
budget.
right. Okay. So what do you think? Do you want to do a small business or do you want to do mini consultants?
Hmm. That's a good question because I would think of a consultant as a small business,
Mm-hmm.
but I see where you're going with honing in even more, being even more precise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it clarifies. This one becomes more clear if we define it by owners.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of up to you, and you don't have to
Yeah.
decide right now,
Okay.
right? We can try it on both ways.
Okay.
Yeah, are experts in their subject matter or in their, let's think of another word other than uh,
There.
experts in what they do. We want to keep it so simple,
Sure.
but okay, they're many small business owners. What happens when they're not good with grammar, syntax, and punctuation? Like what happens?
I think that their expertise is not conveyed. I think it becomes lost because errors are so distracting and I think harshly judged. I think, it's sort of, if you think of it in terms of a resume, if you've got a mistake, it's going in the garbage. And if you think of
Right.
a report, I
Okay.
would think same thing. Like now everything that you're reporting on comes into question because you've misspelled 5 different words and you don't know how to use a comma.
Right. 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 Okay. I'm going to try a third approach.
Yeah.
Many experts put out content that I'm going to put unedited content that
Undermines their credibility or
I like that, their credibility. But we need to put something in here. Content that undermines their
error laden or error
uh
imperfect.
yeah, yeah. Many experts put out unedited content that is full of errors. That we'll have to work this through.
Yeah.
But this is the idea. And it is harshly judged by who? By their potential, yeah, who's judging this?
By their intended audience, by their own clients.
There you go. Okay. Okay, we're gonna move on, but I like the direction that we're heading here. It needs to be refined. Okay. I help them. So now what we're doing is we're basically identifying this part right here, that
Okay.
you are the guide and your service is the solution to this problem. And in this section, I love how short this one is. This does not need to be wordy at all.
Wait.
So I think I helped them with grammar expertise. I polished their copy to perfection. I helped them perfect written words. All these are really good. I help them improve the quality of their writing. Ooh, well, oh my gosh, you did such a great job. This is often
Oh,
the hardest section for people. While preserving their ideas and voice. Okay, so then now we're going to move on to number 3 because we've got 3 really good options here.
wait.
Now we've got the success. We're painting a picture of a brighter future for them. So we've got
Mhm.
I like number 1. So the brilliance. So the brilliance of their ideas can shine.
Mhm.
What else? So they can make more or get more clients, increase
Uh,
impact.
I think yes, I think both of those things they can,
Enhanced visibility.
yeah, they can feel more confident about their work.
Okay.
They
Something
are
about
more credible. they're,
Yep.
um,
Be respected.
mhm.
Okay. Okay. Let's
I
play
think,
with these. Yeah. Keep
yeah,
going. What were you
I
gonna
think that I like be respected because I think, well, as I said, a grammar nerd, but I think that if you can't convey your ideas clearly and flawlessly, then you're judged for the flaws and not the idea.
Completely. Completely. That needs to come through on your website. That is huge and beautifully said. Okay. Now let's hone this down. What we're going to do now is move into number 4. Okay. Many experts put out unedited content that, let's just say, that undermine, I'm going to keep it simple, undermine their credibility. That undermines their credibility. Okay. Now we're going to talk about, I fix every, how do we say that? Full of errors. I fix the errors. I can't even spell it. I fix the errors. I want to identify, I was going to say, I want to identify who you are. Like, I'm a copywriter, I'm a copy editor.
Yeah.
I'm a copy editor. Fixes grammatic errors.
Yeah. Or I could say, I'm a grammar expert.
I'm a grammar nerd.
Yeah, there you go.
Henry is knocking on the door. One moment.
Or
Come on, Hen. Come on, buddy. He'll keep knocking until I let him in. Okay. I'm a grammar nerd who fixes errors and improves quality of their writing so they can get their ideas, to get their brilliant ideas into the world, gain respect and feel. Do they care about visibility?
usually the people that I work for already have a client lined up and the work is not out there getting them more work.
Got it. Okay, and so they're really wanting, they're already working with a client and they want their work to be perfect so that they're not judged.
Exactly. Yeah, they have
Okay.
a fixed audience.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay.
You could argue that all work gets you more clients in some way or another, but I think usually they've got somebody that they're working for.
Got it. Okay. So really they're wanting to be credible and confident and that want their, oh, and be respected and really show up as an expert, basically. They don't want to be judged, right? So they can
Correct.
get brilliant ideas. So it's not really into the world, right? It's get their brilliant ideas out of their head.
Um,
This one here.
on paper. Oh, I guess that's old fashioned, but
No, it's not. No, no.
eventually somebody is eventually using paper.
Yeah. So they can.
And I think that people who hire editors who take that step are perfectionists. And so it's like their high standards shine through because they've met the high standard of perfect copy.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Gain respect and okay, here, let's try this and then we'll start honing it down.
Okay.
Experts put out unedited content that undermines their credibility. I'm a grammar nerd who fixes errors and improves the quality of their writing so they can be known for their brilliant ideas, gain respect, and feel more confident. How does that feel for you?
Yeah.
Good. Let's just take a closer look at it here. Okay. Is there anything that you feel like needs massaging, tweaking, honing?
I wonder about experts because what if somebody doesn't feel expert, but they just have an idea, or if they just have something they need to convey in writing?
Right.
No substitute comes to mind. And I think it does get the point across that one can be a subject matter expert, but not express themselves well in writing. They're two different skills, or,
Mhm.
writing well and expressing oneself well in writing is its own skill.
When you think about like the consultants or the small business owners that you've worked with previously, does this feel, even though they might not call themselves an expert, they
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to, but would they consider themselves like maybe deep down to be like pretty badass at their area?
Yeah, yes, as my mind is filing through, I've worked for an audiovisual company, and they were expert in sounds and lights and video,
Right.
or what else? And a philanthropist and investor wanted his excellent intentions um, sold without looking like he was trying to sell himself.
Okay.
Wanted to gain attention without appearing to want attention.
I like this line that you had about polishes copy to perfection.
Sure, because it is not always about an error. Sometimes it's just too wordy, or sometimes it's the copies just needs to be organized a little differently.
Okay. Let's break down. Okay, this. Many experts put out unedited content that undermines their credibility. How does that feel?
I like that.
Okay.
I think now that I've sat experts for a moment, I feel that that's accurate.
Okay. I'm gonna move this down. Now, I'm a grammar nerd who polishes copy to perfection. I love that.
I do too.
That says so much. It says so much right there, in like, it packs a punch, and everyone's following every word that you say.
Yeah.
You're not losing anybody along the way.
You're the world.
Right. So I like that. And then now I want to really make sure this is right on the mark around what they want. What do they want in their ideal perfect world? When they're on the peak of the mountain, what are the three things that they want?
I think we have it. So credibility is, they get the credibility that they deserve, they get the respect that they deserve. I think anytime you put your work out there, there's some anxiety with it, how it's going to be received. And I think that you're not going to be held back by
Buttons.
Yeah.
Okay. And I kind of like this idea about, ooh, I think this is coming together. Tell me if I have any grammatical errors. Okay, let's just see how it feels. And this could be respect or credibility, but I kind of like credibility.
I do too. I think it's, because
many experts put out unedited content that undermines their credibility. I'm a grammar nerd who polishes copy to perfection so they can increase confidence, be known for their brilliant ideas, and get the credibility they deserve.
I wonder about, I'm always trying to be more concise by using specific words so they can convey their brilliant ideas. I don't know if that word is too.
Yeah, that I like that a lot. Yep, simpler too. Perfect. And this could be gain.
Yeah.
And we could also tweak this a little bit more conversational, which I always like. Would just be feel confident. You want to try it? Why don't you please say it out loud.
Many experts put out unedited content that undermines their credibility. I'm a grammar nerd who polishes copy to perfection so they can feel confident, convey their brilliant ideas, and gain the credibility they deserve.
What about this? It's the last part's a little wordy. So
I love where you're going with this. As I was reading it, I wanted to
edit. Yeah. Let's try it one more time. It does help to hear it.
Sure. Many experts put out unedited content that undermines their credibility. I'm a grammar nerd who polishes copy to perfection so they can confidently convey their brilliant ideas and get the credibility they deserve.
Yeah. And if you wanted to do it shorter, you could remove brilliant
Mm-hmm.
or just remove confidently?
Mm-hmm. I like the word confidently
Okay.
because I think lack of confidence is like an epidemic, especially when it comes to writing. It's sort of it's a
Right.
skill that, I mean, I think of my high school student, and I see that he's graded on the strength of his ideas in high school, but not necessarily the writing. It's they let a lot of stuff go by that I think in our day they would have been marking with a red pen. And so I
Mhm.
feel like, well, either the value will be lost or I think the skill is getting lost. So hopefully the value will be preserved. I think among professionals, hopefully it will hang on.
Yeah. I agree with you about the confidence part. Like, I think the reason people hire editors is because fundamentally they're insecure. They lack confidence around,
Yes,
and that's people that are perfectionists are often insecure. So I think that word
right,
is a really important thing to weave in here. And I think removing the brilliant ideas is going to allow it to be less of a mouthful for you. Like if you're out
sure,
at a coffee shop, but things like your brilliant ideas we can weave into a website copy, right? But this is really
sure,
just like you're in its most simple form. What
sure,
is it that you do so people can remember and categorize you in their
right,
brain and remember? So
right.
that's the mission here. So let me hear you share this one here at the top.
Many experts put out unedited content that undermines their credibility. I'm a grammar nerd who polishes copy to perfection so they can convey their ideas with confidence and get the credibility they deserve. I like that
I like it a lot.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the winner.
Great.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Exciting.
So now you
So,
can take this and literally copy and paste it, put it right in the signature of your email. So every email that goes out that you send to anybody, this is in the signature below your name. And then
great.
put it on LinkedIn, put it on in your Instagram if you have a professional Instagram account. If you have business cards, like it belongs literally anywhere you appear online. This goes with
Fantastic.
you and your business. And then eventually, if you want to hone into a specific service around PowerPoints or anything like that, we can really craft
Yeah.
one liner for that service. But I think this is a great overarching way to communicate what you do that doesn't really lose people or overwhelm them with information.
Right.
So they're gonna get it and they're gonna remember it, which is really hard to do these days. So
Fantastic.
yeah, yeah,
Great.
cool.
This is great. Yeah.
All
I
right.
love it. I'm
Well,
excited.